What's up, Simlings? Welcome to today's video. I'm Nay, I play The Sims. Let's do this. Today we have a super happy fun times church. As you can see, I took off running here. I knew pretty much from the get-go with the main shape that I wanted. You've just got your main entranceway and then you've got your main hall in the back there. This church, it changed in atmosphere quite a bit. I think because I built this almost immediately after I did my last build, which there was the Havisham house makeover. So I think I was still vibing off that, even though that wasn't my intention going in. I wanted to build not necessarily like, you know, a church of any sort of main religion. I think my main idea, I wanted to build like a cult house, and that's sort of, you see how it changes as we go. But to begin with, it starts off as almost quite a romantic looking wedding chapel, which, I mean, it was very pretty, and I might redo it again, but that's definitely not what I was aiming for when I began. I'm putting in the roof here in sections for the main hall area. I did this with my cat cafe build because I like the idea of, you know, letting light in from the roof. So it's basically, it's a big sunlight. So I've redone that here. You'll see it looked really big to begin with, but once I started furnishing it, it was nowhere near as big as I needed, which seems to be a thing with my build, so it will get bigger. There was also a big learning curve with this church, which comes up a bit later. Obviously, you'll see it when it happens, because I will be reminiscing about The Sims 3 again, because once again, there was a tool in that game that there isn't in this game, which would be super helpful. But anyway, decorating the outside with this lovely brick, sort of taking a bit of inspiration from Bavarian homes, which are my favourite types of homes. Just, I love it. Love the mixed textures. And doing a little bit of landscaping, adding some giant trees. There are so many lovely trees in this. Really enjoy going through all the plant options. And then after the trees, I spend a little bit of time making little garden beds for the front, so accidentally deleted a tree there. So just trying to pick a fence, trying to pick a shape, just to, you know, put some flora out the front. I am sore today, I'll admit. My voice sounds a bit, like, weary. We got back to roller derby training last night, which was amazing. Been off skates now for a few months with the whole restrictions, and I'm feeling it. I am sore, but I am so happy. But yeah, just so glad to be back. And hey look, the first thing I go for is lavender. Who would have thunk it? But my idea generally whenever I do garden beds, I'm trying to aim for like a tiered effect. So starting from the back with your highest plants and then working forward. I saw I grabbed cattails there. I don't know what I was thinking, but that is inspiring me to do some kind of swampy build. Which, yeah, actually, I might write that idea down. But then adding in like lupins and little hedges and, you know, lots of little things here and there just to, you know, give it some texture and some, you know, just different colours and shapes and sizes. And I do want to point out sometimes you can hear me clicking around. Just my mouse is quite loud. It's a big clicky mouse. But I've got the Sims 4 gaming mouse, which my brother bought me and his partner bought me for Christmas a few years back. And it's beginning to, you know, malfunction on me, but I love it. It's so cool. It changes colours with your Sims mood because it's actually tied to the Sims 4 game. It's absolutely wicked. And I think part of why I'm mentioning it as well is my partner desperately wants to replace it because he doesn't think it's up to his standard. But, you know, I'm just mentioning it here. Just, you know, I love it. And I'm never getting rid of that. Yeah. Trying to always think of stuff to tell you guys as we go here because otherwise it's just me, you know, breathing heavily into the mic and being like, yeah. Still putting a fence in here. But oh, we're on to the multi-leveling. Here we go. I'm about to bitch. So in The Sims 3 there's a multi-leveling tool. So say like if you want to raise the kitchen up or if you want to raise like a piano platform, you can, you know, raise the floor a little bit higher than the rest of the floor. That tool does not exist in The Sims 3. So you've got to do this annoying thing where you've actually got to build the house on a platform, create a separate room, delete a room so you can get this multi-level thing. This I could not figure out on my own. I ended up going to one of James Turner's videos, which so helpful. Thanks, mate. That was mate. He doesn't know who the hell I am, but thank you anyway. That was really helpful. I don't think I would have figured that out without your help there. But yeah, here we go. You can see where like there's going to be the main stage area. I don't know. I don't go to church. My history with religion is not a fun one, but yeah. So there's like a main thing where like the preacher or the, you know, the leader or whatever he's called stands and does this thing. My cat is clawing my leg. Hi. And then, you know, putting in pews, and I put in meditation stools here because, as I said, like we're not going any mainstream religion. This was just one I was making up in my head as we went. I was going for more like a new age cult kind of vibe, and then just ended up going really, really dark, which interesting. I'll get to that when we actually start decorating it. I'll explain my thought process as we go. but just a few tidbits on my sort of history with religion. It's not huge, but just, you know, so I don't leave you hanging there, because I'm sure you totally care. But basically, like, I used to go to church with my grandma back when we would stay with her and granddad out in the country every, you know, school holidays, and that was all well and good, apart from like, it's a tiny little country town full of old people, and the only time there are ever kids there is during school holidays, when the kids go out to go spend time with their grandparents. And oh, they had this, like, kids choir, which was basically just all the kids visiting their grandparents got up to sing a song, which was, what was it called? Jesus is my superhero. And it was just going, you know, how Jesus is better than Batman, he's better than Superman, he's better than Julio. And I remember my brother looking at me, because, you know, he was obviously, we used to watch Cheese TV in the morning, and there was, like, you know, all the English dubbed anime. And it just makes me wonder, like, how they got so far through so many rehearsals and nobody corrected anyone to be like, hey, you know, it's actually Yu-Gi-Oh, right? But, yeah, so that was that. But anyway, that was all good. Like, you know, that kind of church was kind of fun. You know, the old people were very nice. It was a surprisingly progressive church, considering, you know, tiny little country town. But, the sort of my history gets a little bit worse when, I had a friend when I was... Well, she was a friend from about the time I was 7, but her mum was super heavily, you know, like Old Testament Christian. And, you know, I started acting out when I was about 13, 14, and basically, you know, her mum turned around and said, if you want to be friends with my daughter, you have to join our church. So, of course, like, her daughter was pretty much my only close friend, so I was like, yeah, sure, I can fake it, I'll come to church with you. And it was just, it was gruesome, it was horrible, like... It was so judgmental and nasty and closed-minded, and yeah, it put me off mainstream religion, I think, for the rest of my life. But that part of the story actually ties in nicely to where we are with the decorating process here, and why I've ended up moving the table with all the candles to the front, and there's now a table at the back with those two women statues. Because basically, I'm reading the Bible at the moment. I'd originally read the Old Testament, well, some of the Old Testament, and then gave up on it, but I'm now reading the King James Version. And I've just finished Leviticus, and holy moly, does God love his sacrifices. He loves animals being slaughtered, you know, for us to repent for our sins, like blood and burnt offerings. The Leviticus is metal AF, I've got to tell you. So I'd started building this church just before I got to that part in Leviticus where God starts to tell Moses, you know, how he wants his tabernacle built, and unfortunately, what I've built here kind of is what God explains to Moses, except that it's not built from shittim wood. But back to the build here, decided to replace the really pretty front door that came with the Get Famous pack with this big heavy wooden door. I think it fit the theme more now that I'd changed it from, you know, this pretty romantic venue into something a bit darker. But I kept the windows and just changed the colours because they're still quite ornate and they have that lovely sort of gothic appearance to them. Changed some of the colours of the flowers, but nothing too drastic there. And then realised that the roof needed extending because I'd completely forgotten about that. So just extending the roof here. And I believe I cut quite a section out of this. Yeah, there we go. Because you saw how I did the sectioning before. So if you want to do the sectioning for yourself, you can look previously in the video for that. But it's not too difficult. And then I tried to raise it up a little bit higher, but you can't do that. Once you've done the multi-levelling, that's something to be warned about. You only get one chance to do the multi-levelling, because once it's done you can't adjust the level of your foundation. And then moving back inside, just adding all the nice little details. I got this little glowy tree which I resized because I thought that was just really spooky. And then I hate this space above the curtains. It's kind of empty, it just screams unfinished. So I was trying to find something. I spent ages going through so many decorations but couldn't find anything, you know, appropriately spoopy to put up there. So I think I ended up filtering down to like the vampire stuff pack, the spooky stuff, anything I could think of that was a little bit more, you know, macabre, and I could try to find something to put up there. But I was not having luck. Damn, I should have put that cauldron in now that I just picked up a cauldron there. I wonder why I didn't do that. But I left like, you know, you've got your sacrifice table and then you've got your little sort of banquet table off to the side there, which is where, you know, you'd put your cups of offerings and incense and stuff like that. And then that gorgeous rug there from the Magical Realm pack. Love that rug as well. I love the sort of glow it has, just so pretty. In the front hall I added, there's like a little scale there that also comes with the Magical Realm pack. I was thinking back to ancient Egyptian mythology there with Anubis, who weighs your heart as you try to enter the afterlife. So I thought that was a pretty cool little touch, if I do say so myself. And then just changing curtains, just messing around with the colour scheme a little bit because I felt it was too much red. So just added some, you know, more darkness in there. And then still trying to fill fluorescent lights, what was I thinking? Still trying to fill that empty space. Just, as I couldn't really bring the height of the walls down either because of the multi-leveling as well, so just all of that ended up causing, you know, quite a bit of strife. But yeah, just going through rugs, just trying to think of any final touches I want to add to this, but I think by this point I was pretty happy with the interior, and you see I just do a little flipping and rotating, just looking for any little things I've left out, any little errors I've made. So you can see here I've forgotten to paint some of the foundation, so basically I'm just checking that, you know, what do you call it, crossing T's and dotting I's. So you're doing a little bit of the guttering there as well to make sure that matches, otherwise it's just this weird white striping that doesn't work very well. And then a little bit more landscaping, just trying to add some more character to the outside, just so it doesn't look like a house has been plonked on, you know, a green square, which is essentially what you're doing anyway. Then adding my little werewolfy friend to the front and some ivy just to, you know, make it look a little more overgrown. It's just to add to that whole, you know, spooky vibe. I guess being abandoned is spooky. And with that, we are approaching the end of this video. Thank you so much if you've made it to this point. Please do hit the likey button and the subscribey button, and maybe the little dingling bell so you get notifications of future uploads. But with that, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks for sticking around, and I'll catch you next time.